Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Lorenzo Meneo from EUMANS. I'm moderating this meeting since my colleague and co-president of EUMANS, Virginia, can't be there. With Marco Cappato and Marianella Sclavi, today we will discuss about some proposals for sustainable peace. That's the way we consider the peace that we want in Ukraine, not just stopping the war, but promoting rule of law and sustainability in Ukraine. So Marianella is involved in a project. It's called the MAIN project. She will explain better what it means, and she has some initiatives she's working on. On the other hand, we as humans, we worked on some initiative, for instance, related to the accession to Ukraine in the EU, the initiative Ukraine Now. And today, also together with some representatives of local communities of Ukrainian community in Italy. I see connected also Victoria from Milan. We would like to rediscuss with you some potential non-violent initiative that we can work on, so on. So I would like to give the floor to Marianella to recap a little bit the initiative she's involved in and how humans could help. And then also, I don't know if Marco wants to talk before Marianella or...
Yes, Lorenzo, just a quick word. Thank you very much to all for being present and attending tonight. Of course, we do not pretend as humans to have the solution of this huge global tremendous tragedy who is happening since several months. What we try to focus from the very beginning is the idea of having also non-military proposals and solutions to reinforce the possibility of a peace that should not be, of course, surrendering to the aggression. So that everybody has his own position, but I think there should not be doubt in helping Ukrainians to defend themselves from the war of aggression that Putin's Russia launched against them. At the same time, there are still things that can be done. For example, at the level of the integration of Ukraine in the European Union on one side, and the activation of international justice on the other side. But there can also be other form of initiative, intervention that could contribute to a long-standing peace or the preparation of a long-standing peace. So it is important to keep on discussing all the possible solution and proposal. So thank you very much to Marianella to introduce this this evening. And of course, this is also a political debate, and everybody is welcome and invited to intervene. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Marco. I will try to be as short and brief as possible. I am one of the persons who founded this European movement of nonviolent action, which is a group of people actually who want to build relationship between the Italian civil society and the Ukrainian civil society to do whatever is needed to come out as the best way and as soon as possible from this war, of course, together. Our approach, we have been many times in Ukraine, and we built some very good, lasting and trustful relationship with parts of the, not only civil society, but also the religious and political authorities in different towns. And we very soon understood. I am an expert of active listening, so I'm going there to listen and not to tell them what they should do. And that is the main approach. So by listening, as soon as we got there, we understood that nobody who is against also the defending themselves through arms will have any possibility to really build something significant in Ukraine nowadays, because the whole, very few people are against the fact that they should fight. They fight with arms. So the first thing is our approach has been immediately, arms are not enough. Arms meaning weapons. We even built a slogan which is more arms for hugs, which is another kind of arms. But anyway, we said, if we want to come out of this war in a way which is livable, which is you can agree that it is peaceful, really peaceful, you need not only weapons, which also are needed, but you mainly need a kind of non-violent reflection, which means the real victory on this aggression is more democracy. This aggression is an aggression against democracy, and the real victory is building a better democracy, not only in Ukraine, but in Europe. Because this war was also the consequence of a lack of capability from the European government to avoid the kind of escalation that brought to the war. So we need a European government, a democracy which is much more effective, and it is effective also on the level of creative conflict management, and that is one of the cases, not the only one, is the management of the conflict in Donbass, which was, there were, of course, the Minsk agreements, but they were never followed. There was nobody in charge of having them respected. So that is something that must be together, the European civil society and Ukrainian must do something to improve the European government, this is a kind of approach which is kind of the other way around from the approach of the European government is Ukrainians will come into Europe as soon as they will be ready. We have a lot of conditions for them, which might be okay. But the other face of this is that Ukrainian can say that Europe has some conditions to become, of change, to become a better democratic government. And that is one thing that helped to create a real solidarity among us and them, because they are a very people who don't like to ask with their hat in the hands the entrance in Europe. They also want to be heard, not only stay in a condition of asking for to enter. So this is one of the characters of our relationship, and around this we discussed about having twinings of municipalities, Italian and Ukrainian, for how to deal with the emergency. Now, I am in France now, so I must translate from French to English. And also, so how to deal with the emergency now in a way that it is already happening. All the people are participating to this reconstruction, to the emergency. But also you have to have a rebuilding Ukraine after the war in a kind of approach of participatory democracy. And the mayors that we met, we brought to Ukraine, are mayors of were very good in this kind of approach. They are coming. They are of a kind of social network which is called the welcoming municipalities, and they discuss about how to improve democracy, which is our Italian democracy, which is in need of that. So that is the whole, and then, of course, there is helping them with the things that are much needed now. The most important stuff now is giving them help to face the winter, the cold, the lack of electricity, all these things. So we created a network, and I think tonight Angelo Moretti is not here with us because he's working at this. We created a special collective to deal with how to create and to bring there some climatic bunkers. We have the architect Mario Cucinella, which is very famous architect, that is also our friend, and he created a project for building quickly some refuge, climatic refuge, and we are going to go there for Christmas and the New Year's Eve, and we hope that we are going to build them for then. So in this moment, Angelo is talking with the administration of Kiev, and tomorrow morning again to discuss where we can put this kind of big buildings for 75, 70 people, which are warm enough. We have autonomous electricity, and are also built in the point of view, aesthetic point of view, are nice looking, which is not bad. And we must decide where to bring them. And also we are collecting the dresses and all the stuff, that sweaters, all the things that you need for the cold. So this is something which requires a lot of work, and we know that much more should be needed. It is really kind of very desperate situation, but it is nice to be there. We are going to spend, some of us will be there for Christmas. I will be there for the last year last day of the year and we hope to stay with them inside the bunkers that we are going to build for that time. This is the main approach that we follow, and we would like to see what are your opinions about this.
Okay, thank you, Marianella. I would like to let everybody think about how we as humans could contribute to some initiatives, including this one of building refugi. Sorry, the word is for people. For Ukrainian people, given the situation with the energetic problem. So I will let everybody think a little bit about how we can merge between our proposals and the main project initiatives. And you can find more about our proposal and initiative in the chat with the list of proposals of humans for sustainable peace in Ukraine. I see that Victoria is connected also. I know that she's very active in Milan with the local Ukrainian community. I don't know if Victoria, you want to add something.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I will just maybe say a couple of words. Yes, thank you very much for EUMANS for organizing this meeting, Lorenzo, Marco. Basically, I agree with Marianella, and thanks for your initiatives. Of course, they are needed. And of course, they should go hand in hand with weapons, because, you know, the primary aim is to stop the war. And unfortunately, as we have already understood, we cannot stop it through kind of negotiations. As for now, there is no time kind of to negotiate. And I completely kind of support your initiatives to help civilian population. But again, we have to understand that all of these kind of projects, they basically only address the consequences of this aggression. And first we have to stop the aggression. So that will be great. But I think maybe since you have this kind of movement, maybe we can also think, even though I think in Italy, yes, today or yesterday, they have approved already kind of the decree, right, which will still prolong the delivery of weapons. So it seems that Italy is on a kind of a good pace in these terms. So kind of first priority is arms. But we support you in these projects as well. We are kind of what we are doing in our community. We are trying to kind of bring awareness, kind of to deliver weapons, you know, and to support the Ukrainian community. We are doing our protests every evening for 9 months. But again, you know, if we help civilians, it's one thing, but like yesterday, one of our friends who are coming with us every evening, his brother was killed on the front line. Yeah. And the problem is that they didn't have enough weapons, you know? So that's why for us, the priority, of course, is trying to bring this awareness at the European also level, because, you know, kind of the problem is that now the majority of military support comes from the US, not from the EU. And so, I mean, we can think how we can collaborate. Maybe, I don't know, we've also sent in some help, like before when we were kind of collecting money. Now we are not allowed to do money collection in Piazza Duomo, but yeah, we can kind of think how to support these initiatives, but for us the priority is weapons and military support. If we can think also how at the European level we can push these initiatives, and of course the justice, so the creation of tribunals. So Marco is one of those who kind of promotes, right, the creation of tribunal and like prosecution of war crime, like crime of aggression. So we can also kind of collaborate on those projects. So we support you. And yeah, thank you very much for organization of this event.
Thank you, Victoria, for your dialogue. I would like, in the meantime, if someone wants to take the floor, I would like just to underline some of the initiatives that are part of our proposal. And apart the accession to the EU, the Ukraine's accession to the EU, we asked to speeding up the approval of Ukraine's candidature as a member state. But there is also the issue of the ratification of the Rome Statute in order to prosecute violation of international humanitarian law according to the highest standard of International Criminal Court. There is also there is also the issue of incrimination of those responsible for the aggression against Ukraine, starting with placing the political perpetrator Vladimir Putin before an international criminal court. There is the issue of implementation of the proposal which emerged from the Conference on the Future of Europe on Common Peace Corps and Common Energy Policy, specifically recommendation 2 and 20 of European Citizens Group 4, the EU in the world, for the establishment of an energy policy on renewables and independent from external dependencies, and the establishment of a joint EU arms force in order to bring closer the goal of long-term and sustainable peace in Europe and globally. So these are statements that we follow and would support. I see an end from Caterina, would like to intervene in the discussions.
Just a few words, and well, first of all, thanks to Marianella and to Victoria for bringing this to us. I just want to say that when we make awareness about giving army and weapon to Ukraine, probably we need to stress about what we are gaining, because Italian politicians right now are talking to people, to general population, and what they are telling them, what they are losing. And definitely we are living in a economic regression. So of course, who are against to help to sustain Ukrainian resistance, what they are saying, we are losing money. And so we can't help Italian because we are losing money for giving arms to Ukraine. So probably we need to, to try to make them aware that it's what we are gaining, that it's a long-term goal and something that will bring us back economy, will bring us back health. And, also we are giving back democracy and living in a better society. So this is basically what I think, because that's the main issue, at least in Italy. When I talk about that I sustain Ukrainian resistance, the main point that they raise, okay, but we are giving them money and we are losing the minimum low income in Italy. That's the, the main issue they bring us. So to make them aware, it means for us, to explain better what means democracy, what it means a long-term sustainable peace. And that's all. I just wanted to, share with you these few words.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I see Klaus raising hand. Everybody, I just would like to remind that you can use the functionality. Someone is texting me for the interpretation, so I will explain how it works. You have this button for interpretation, and you click there, and you can put Italian or English if you need to listen to the translation. I will give the floor to Klaus, then everybody is welcome to write in the chat or raise hand with the Zoom functionality to take the floor. Klaus.
Okay, thank you very much. We had in near Vienna, in a little village in Mödling, and attempt to make awareness, yes, for that problem of Ukraine. And there was about 40 people attending this face-to-face meeting. And I only want to make 3 points, which I find quite nice, which was coming out. The first one was the task of the church is to call for peace. That was a very important statement, which was agreed completely. A second one that is interesting. It would be nice if soldiers were ordered to go to war, but no one goes. Example of thousands of Russian soldiers who did not go to the Ukraine to kill. They should be applauded because there were really a lot of them. That was a second point which coming out. And the third one, peace research would be very important. Avoiding the causes of war, blatant social differences. These are 3 points which I want to mention from that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Klaus, for your considerations. Okay, I see between.
I just would like to add one thing, and probably with also Marianella, we could explore this further. Sometimes, well, of course, when you have people that are supporting Putin's regime, no dialogue is, well, dialogue you can always speak to someone, but it's too clear that you will never get to an agreement or a conclusion. But sometimes you can have people that are genuinely asking for peace, that maybe can be involved in the effort that Marianella is describing, passing through humanitarian help, and then maybe this can be the door by which you can open a better acknowledgement of what is happening over there. So I think that even if I totally agree with Victoria that when you are under fire, the first need is to resist, even from the military point of view. At the same time, I think that if there are people that are willing to strongly cooperate through humanitarian help, and maybe they are not backing or in favor or willing to help in another way with weapons, well, their help should not be dismissed anyhow. If it's not becoming a political solution from the state, from the government, but just an individual choice of a kind of help that you can provide, I think it should be welcome and accepted. And at the same time, there is the broader political issue of disarmament, because I am in favor of disarmament as a long-term global issue. Of course, I will never be in favor of unilateral giving up of weapons for the not just for Ukrainians, but also for Europeans or for NATO, because this would give a tremendous additional strength to authoritarian regime. But I think we should not translate this approach in indefinite support to the increase of military spending. If there would be a multilateral agreement on disarmament or lowering of military expenses, this should be welcome. So sometimes some ideological fight on this issue should be tackled, making difference from the short term and the long term. In the short term, you cannot give up helping the aggressor. In the long run, it is very important to build the condition of multilateral agreement for international peace and disarmament. So, for example, this is the reason why we are insisting on the idea of reinforcing the peace corps or peace intervention capabilities of even non-armed forces within the European Union, because this can have a strong preventive effect on conflicts. Of course, you cannot have preventing effect of conflicts that are already happening. So this is why when a war of aggression is launched, you have to choose whether to be on the side of the aggressor or whether to be on the side of the aggressor. But prevention is still something that should be on the top of the political agenda, even within the European Union. As probably many of you know, as humans, we are trying to prepare a package of government proposals for the European Union, and I think that this issue of war prevention should be in the agenda. Thank you.
Of course, Marianella.
Well, 4 of the people who are part of the European movement for nonviolent action are all the members of Alexander Langer Foundation. And of course, Alexander Langer was the first to propose the Peace Corps in Europe. And we are absolutely, one is of our goals is absolutely this, which means having a better Europe. The reason why a more federal government, a more democratic European Europe, otherwise you will not have the real effective European civil corps, and also an effective European civil corps which have the know-how, the capability to stop conflicts before they go in escalation, they become wars, need also a military force. You cannot go in a place like Donbass, where there are factions who are fighting with arms, one against the other, and simply try to involve the people who are there to be collaborate in rebuilding society. You must stop the ones who are fighting and at the same time do the reconstruction. So real civil corps need an Europe with a military autonomous force, which is not NATO, which is not NATO, as you call it. We must be European. That means that Europe must have a minimum of political idea of what is its role in the world, inside Europe. That is very, very important, and we must discuss during the war of this, not after the war. Also, if you want to get to as soon as possible to stop the war and agreement, in the agreement we must put the building of the civil corps, because who is going to take care of what is happening on those territories after the war, they stopped killing each other? You need the civil corps, but so that is a very, very important kind of goal. One positive thing that is happening is that in force of the fact that this international justice against war crimes is going to be built, as far as I understood. Even von der Leyen is working for this, so you know better than I, but I think it is. I saw that in Russia, even in the Russian television, there were discussions of people worried about this. Worried by the fact that after the war, they are going to be judged in international court. I think they have the Nuremberg kind of images coming out of this, which is which is good. I think it helps them to start thinking that they must find a different kind of way of getting out of this war that is not only bombing missiles and so on, and destroying the Ukrainian cities. So this is a very, and also, of course, as Klaus said before, the fact that the young people in Russia are refusing to go to war in different ways. That is absolutely very important, and we must express all our solidarity with them, and in all the ways that we can imagine. We must be stronger in this, because that is really very important. This war is going to finish if inside the Russian society will grow a big opposition. There is no other way, I think. So we must help this opposition to be seen, to be strong, and to ban the atomic bomb, to ban the wars. That is a really long-term kind of goal. But yes, but we must talk as far as it is possible, also in Europe, in the other countries in Europe, to talk with the people, with the Russian people who are against, and start thinking with them, not only the fact that we are against, but also what kind of society of life we want to build. We must build a better world together with the people in Russia who are against the war, if we want the war to finish. So it is not only against, but it's very important to build a desirable future, something that a new world, that we must be the people who are building a new world. And these young people who are against the war in young and older people who are against the war in Russia are very, very important, necessary part of this kind of movement.
Thank you, Marianella. Before giving the floor to Victoria, who has raised her hand, just would like to remind the best way in which I think we can be helpful as humans about this initiative. Marco was referring to the package of proposal, ECI, European Citizens Initiatives. I think from this conversation and this dialogue should reflect about what can be transformed in institutional proposal addressed to the European institution and work jointly on this. I see, I don't know if Victoria won against to, oh no, okay, it was the end of before. I see Andrea and then also Olga. Maybe Olga has already her microphone open from the Ukrainian community in Napoli.
Allora, salve, buonasera a tutti. Per chi non mi conosce, io sono una delle cofondatrici dell'associazione Vola a Napoli. L'associazione culturale è stata fondata dai ragazzi che non hanno mai fatto prima della guerra il volontariato, quindi siamo, diciamo, una delle pochissime associazioni basate sulle persone non professionali in questo campo. All'inizio siamo stati dei referenti per il consolato ucraino per assessoriato alle politiche sociali di Napoli, come coloro che gestivano i mediatori nelle questure, nelle prefetture, negli ospedali per i rifugiati che giungevano sul territorio campano proprio all'inizio della guerra. Dopodiché, verso l'estate, quando abbiamo capito che la situazione purtroppo non si sarebbe risolta molto presto, che invece molti dei rifugiati credevano che sarebbe stato così, abbiamo avviato molti corsi di lingua italiana per poter inserire in qualche maniera e rendere autonomi le persone che hanno deciso di rimanere su questo territorio, e adesso ci stiamo occupando dei corsi di formazioni lavorative con la Generazione Vincente Academy per dare le possibilità ai rifugiati di una possibilità in più di inserirsi lavorativamente. Ecco. Cosa dire? Noi con la nostra associazione non ci siamo mai occupati, diciamo con esclamazione, della politica e di rifornimento delle armi per ZSU, per i militari ucraini. Però sicuramente crediamo fermamente che non dobbiamo, ecco, io ciò che vorrei che sia chiaro, noi non dobbiamo confondere due aspetti, non dobbiamo assolutamente confondere coloro che attaccano con le armi e coloro che si difendono con le armi.
Certo.
Allora, noi abbiamo un paese che è entrato armato sul territorio di un altro paese sovrano, distruggendo e non rispettando nessuna legge, diciamo, tra virgolette, di guerra, non rispettando i civili. Quindi sono state distrutte completamente le abitazioni, le prime necessità come adesso l'acqua e l'elettricità, e siamo in pieno inverno che in Ucraina, se saprete, arriva anche a -20, -15 e -20 in gennaio è molto possibile. Allora, ciò che ci giunge come richiesta dal territorio ucraino qui in Europa è di portare i bambini, soprattutto quelle che stanno nelle case famiglie o negli orfanotrofi, oppure bimbi che vengono dalle famiglie numerose qui sul territorio italiano almeno per l'inverno. Sono tutti bambini che avevano la possibilità, ci dicono, di uscire dall'Ucraina. Se non sono usciti o hanno una motivazione, insomma, familiare da non poter farla, oppure vivono in queste case famiglie e quindi non hanno possibilità di andarsene se non con i accompagnatori, che forse non vogliono andarsene. Quindi moltissimi ci chiedono di accoglierli per l'inverno. Purtroppo mi sono scontrata con delle autorità italiane che non sono molto disposte a farlo. Non ci sono costi, non ci sono spazi, non ci sono volontà, forse, non so. Sta il fatto che anche molte persone rifugiate che sono state accolte nelle strutture sia statali che dei cittadini privati oggi vengono, forse anche giustamente, perché comunque sono passati tantissimi mesi dopo l'accoglienza loro, di trovarsi un alloggio da soli. E lo vorrebbero anche fare, ma non possono, perché tutte le agenzie immobiliari chiedono una dimostrazione del reddito, quindi del contratto lavorativo, che il 90% non ce l'ha, e quindi sono impossibilitati di affittare un appartamento anche se hanno la possibilità economica. E abbiamo moltissimi casi che nelle situazioni di questo tipo hanno preferito o hanno dovuto addirittura tornare a casa nella situazione terribile che c'è adesso lì, perché qui in pratica si sono trovati per la strada, ecco. più o meno, non so, la nostra associazione si occupa di persone, quindi parlare delle armi non è compito mio e non è, diciamo, la nostra specializzazione, ma so di sicuro che finché, almeno parlando e confrontandomi con dei miei cari amici e parenti che si trovano sul territorio ucraino e nelle zone abbastanza come Kharkiv e Mariupol, che sono quelle, diciamo, più bombardate fino ad oggi. Anche se il governo ucraino volesse smettere in qualche maniera, fermarsi, le persone non sono disposte a farlo. Quindi ormai è partita quella macchina che difficilmente si potrà fermare con le azioni pacifiche o il discorso di non utilizziamo le armi perché creano solo diciamo, i danni e non la pace. Finché i territori occupati della Russia non saranno ridati, e io credo che l'ultimo punto purtroppo va considerato anche la Crimea, finché non sarà messo il punto lì, non si può parlare della democrazia, non si può parlare della ricostruzione, non si può parlare della crescita né in un paese né nell'altro. Parlando della solidarietà dei ragazzi russi che non vogliono andare a guerra, beh, io qui anche ho molte testimonianze dei parenti, anche perché io vengo da una famiglia russofona, cioè i miei antenati vengono tutti dalla Russia, ma io sono la prima di essere nata in Ucraina, quindi io ho, diciamo, le testimonianze da tutte le parti che mi giungono. Poco è stato fatto da parte dei ragazzi russi, poco. Si poteva fare di più, si può fare di più. Guardando Iran, voglio dire, un esempio ce l'avremo, quindi si può uscire in piazza in massa senza paura di essere arrestati, anche perché pochi casi sono stati di arresti, li rilasciano dopo pochissime ore o pochissimi giorni, quindi non parliamo di torture cinesi che avvengono, insomma, in questi carceri russi. Credo che il popolo russo è d'accordo con quello che succede e si è svegliato solo ed esclusivamente nel momento in cui gli uomini sono stati chiamati per combattere. Solo lì hanno reagito pochino. Quindi io personalmente non ho nessuna solidarietà e nessuna pietà nei confronti di ragazzi russi. Ma nessuna.
Almeno di quelli che non sono d'accordo l'avrai.
Sono pochi, sono molto
però,
pochi.
A maggior ragione, no? A maggior
ragione sì, ma mi dispiace più per i miei amici che al posto di studiare, al posto di lavorare, pensare ai loro figli, adesso devono stare in trincea e a combattere con un fucile in mano. Mi dispiace più per loro.
Thank you, Olga, very much.
Grazie a voi.
And I would like to say that today we are more listening because as humans we run this campaign on Ukraine in the EU, but of course, since we are addressing many issues, we need also to learn and to listen what local communities and associations like Marianella as one are doing on Ukraine, even to see how we can help. So thank you for all your words and testimony. So I see.
May I say a word to Ola? The name is Ola, the girl just spoke from Naples. Yeah?
Olga,
yes.
Olga.
Prego.
No, because there is this network of piccoli comuni del welcome, no? Welcome small municipality, which has the headquarters are in Benevento, which is not far from Naples. And we hosted a lot of kids during the summer. We have a lot of little municipalities who are willing to host the kids who need to stay here during the winter that you were talking. So you should just contact them. Our movement was born there. And also another thing about the possibility to rent an apartment if you have the money and they don't give you the apartment. in the organization which is called Lapsus, which is launched the Patti di Collaborazione in Italy, one of the things they do is to guarantee for the people who are in that condition. So you can organize a kind of agreement with the municipality that you have somebody who is going to be the guarantee for the people who go in that apartment, that the rent will be paid, that the apartment will not be destroyed, and these things. So there is already some experience about this, and that could be very interesting. I think a good municipality should take care of this, but I don't know in Naples what is happening. Okay.
Va bene, grazie mille, grazie, molto gentile, grazie.
Thank you, Marianella. I still see two persons who want to intervene. So Andrea and then Marco.
Yeah, I don't want to go out of topic, but mine is more a question to Marianella and Holka about strategies they could develop for non-violent restoration of Ukraine now and after more suitable conditions will be ready. In particular, I would like to focus about the agriculture sector in Ukraine, which I could just briefly study in last year for some activities, but which it seems to be crucial for the future of Ukraine as a European member state, but anyway as a country. If I am correct, I don't know, I'm asking, in about 2021 in July, from the 1st of July, it was the first time after 20 years that the Ukrainian citizens could buy hectares of agricultural land. And I mean, I think it is well known by everybody that Ukraine is like the agricultural treasure of Europe and of the world in most of the cases, as they produce about 50% of our sunflower oil and soybean oil and others. I think that if a strategy to rebuild a sustainable economy and a sustainable peace, as we say, should be defined now, it must be based on changing the agricultural sector in Ukraine, which was for 20 years exploited by companies, mainly from abroad, from United States, from Russia, from Europe, from Denmark, Netherlands, exploiting all their agricultural resources without contributing to improving the economic conditions of Ukrainian citizens. So it is just my interest, because it is also one of my job focus, how and if you have considered that, if there are plans already in Ukraine or in Europe for helping redefining the agricultural policy in Ukraine to be safe. Because if they could build a sustainable agricultural economy, they could build a sustainable energy economy based on agricultural resources and residues. And it is one of the few countries in the world they could be self-sufficient thanks to the farmland they have, because I think it is 41 million hectares, is something like half of Europe, something similar. And I think it is so crucial, and it could be really an example of non-violent help by going there and supporting the development of sustainable agricultural communities in Ukrainian regions. That is just to know if you have already had occasion to assess this opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea, also for your attention in putting in a propositive way your intervention. Marco.
I just had like a methodological point. People are not neither good, neither bad. Italians were 90% fascist under the fascist regime. Why that? Because of a bad imprinting of the Italian people? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that Italians are better or worse than Russians or than Ukrainians. You have to consider all the let's say all the things that not just it's probably true that most of the people are supporting in Russia and the Putin's regime, but what is support about? What's the role of media, television, propaganda? It's true that Iranians, girls and people and youngs have the courage of risking their life in protesting against the regime. At the same time, Russian regime, thanks also to Europe and to Italy and to the fact that we continued to buy oil, gas, and so on, some of them had improved their standard of life in the recent years, and so they are not that willing to criticize Putin for that, and maybe, as you said, they are just realizing or rebelling to the situation only because they are risking their life. Well, of course, this can be true. Let's take in consideration that soldiers are mostly picked up, chosen among ethnic minorities in Russia, and poor, socially marginalized people are the first category hit by the mandatory the mandatory war for them. So I totally agree, as I said before, that when you have an aggressor and an aggressor, you have to choose. There is not a third way. But this does not mean that an entire country, people, Russians, should be labeled as if their responsibility was the same of the regime, because this would play in the hand of the regime. If we consider, if we don't make difference between the regime and the people, then the regime gets stronger. So I think we can make this difference without in any possible way supporting or simply not opposing the crime, the war crime that was made by the aggressor.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Marco. I will give the floor to Leonello, sorry, for a last intervention, and then we'll try to go to conclusion. We don't have much time. Leonello.
Okay, thank you very much to everybody. I agree with several of your interventions. In particular, thanks to Marco for his comments. He said now, and he reported an aspect that I imagine, and that it's important to take also in consideration. There is some aspect in this terrible situation of the war in Ukraine that should put us in condition to make consideration about the background, the cultural background existing in Europe is not something simple to take in consideration, and it's very, very important. This cultural background is related to the fact that the nations in Europe are based on nations. And this is a very big problem, because the nations during years and years, the thousands of years, make regulation between one nation and the other nation, making wars. And unfortunately, now we have the European community that is born exactly to hinder this situation. We had the idea of the European community, as you know, was during the war, the Second World War, and considered the importance of the European community. Nevertheless, we have to consider that in order to make a regulation between the nations, with the states, we should solve some problem related to the basic cultural background on the people in Europe. There is a country, I'm speaking you from Switzerland. In Switzerland is a state, but is not based on one nation. We are living in several nations. At least they are speaking 3 languages in the parliament. You have, it's difficult to explain, you have some rules exactly in order, in the same city, you could have the possibility to speak 2 languages, but you have to respect rules, particular rules, in order not to offense the other speaking the word, the language in the moment this is not appropriate. This is a big problem, but at the basis of this, the solution of this problem, we have to consider the federalism. It's not possible now to explain you the details of the federalism. The European community have to, and the people of the European community have to go ahead in reinforcing the tools of the democracy, but in particular, one of these tools is the federalism. I end my presentation saying that I participate at this discussion. Thank you for organizing it. I am living here in Switzerland. Nevertheless, I take part to the organization Più Democrazia Italia, because I'm Italian of origin, and the federalism is one on the point that we place in a list of points, that this list of points to reinforce the democracy, we not invented ourselves, but we asked to several groups, several activists of the different groups, a list of points. One of these points is the federalism. Unfortunately, this text for the moment is still in Italian, but we place the link to this document, and there is also a point that speaks about the federalism. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Leonello. You're welcome, and we wait for your document. So I think we must go to conclusions. Of course, we didn't expect to develop any fast solution or proposal just from this appointment. I think that this is a start, and we will need to also make a selection of the things we said today and see what can be developed in a political proposal. I remember to everyone that on the 15th of December, we will attend our EUMANS Assembly as every 3 months. And in this case, we will present a package of proposals to the EU, which we are working on. And I think that starting from this debate, we will see what we can integrate and insert in this package and present it as initiatives for sustainable peace. So I don't know if our host, Marianella, have some less consideration, and then we can say goodbyes and see you soon. Marianella?
Well, just a few words about this last point of working to grow a more federal government in Europe. One of the consequences of this, of the world situation and the war, is that in the last 2 years in Europe, there is a big change. The European government was obliged to take a lot of decisions related to the pandemic, to the economic situation, to the energy lack, and to the war, which are decisions which are of the kind that a federal government could have taken. No, they were obliged to decide together on all these topics. And this is something which has changed deeply the kind of relationships inside not only the European government, but the relationship between the people, European people, and the government and so on. So this is a good moment to fight for to learn what is happening and put the kind of goal of steps toward a federal government as up to date. So, and also there was the conference of European citizens in 2021, which was very important because the conference of European citizens for the future of Europe ended with a lot of kind of decisions which were in favor of a better government in Europe. So we are in a moment where these things are growing and we must be part of this change. That is very important. And then I'm very looking forward to this meeting of the 15th of December. So let us work together and see what we can do together. I think that there is a lot of agreement in all the things that we said tonight. So we really can empower each other. And that is very good. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Marianella, for your contribution, and it's very precious to know what you're doing for peace. Okay, so I would like to say goodbye to everyone and thank you for your participation today. Of course, in particular to Victoria and Olga, also for their testimony of what they're doing in Napoli and Milan. And so, as I said, this is just a start, and today we start reframing in the EUMANS agenda initiatives on sustainable peace in Ukraine. So, thank you very much, and see you soon. See you also on 15th of December. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Nice.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.